Welcome to KROQ to the Rescue, presented by Mercedes-Benz. I'm Kat Corbett. That's V. My rescue dogs are surrounding me. I'd like to introduce you to a longtime friend of mine, Carlyn Kessler, who I have known for years, working with bands like Dave Matthews Band to Alabama Shake. She's been through it all via ATO Records and Red Lights Management. And she's here with her Mimi. Your big Mimi.
This is Mimi.
So Carlyn, you're always a great hang, but one of the things I love about you is that you're a big fan of the pit bulls, of the big heads.
I am, yeah. The bigger and blockier, the better.
And why is that? Why are you a big fan of the big heads?
I actually happened into it, which I think a lot of people do, which is such a blessing. My first dog as an adult in Los Angeles was one of those emails that someone sent around that, my daughter brought home a dog she found on the beach in Venice and we can't keep her, can you take this dog? And it just happened to be a pit bull. And,
right.
I grew up around dogs and I never thought one way or the other about, breeds or what have you. And she just ended up being the best personality dog, and I loved her so much. Bootsy, I've got a little necklace that my friend made that's actually Bootsy. Who passed away at the ripe old age of 18, almost a year ago.
Right.
And she really inspired me to want to help the breed even more. There's a lot of misconceptions about them. There's a lot of misunderstandings about dogs in general. And, they're really wonderful pets. So, the next dog I fostered and failed, or won, as it were, was Mimi. So.
I love it. I have, three rescues. Only one I fostered. The other two, I was just like, get in the car. I want to talk, the point of this and during these crazy times we're at home. And so thank you for doing this. And I'm so thrilled that Mercedes-Benz has been just continuously helping us get the word out about animal adoption through KROQ to the Rescue. It makes me really, really happy. And this one, I want people to be encouraged to foster, which is what you've been doing. Now, your Boots and Herms passed away, and then you got Mimi, correct?
Yes. In between, after Bootsy passed away, I thought that Herman would be lonely. And so I went to the East Valley Shelter, which is the closest shelter that I live, which is part of the city program. And they had a wonderful program around 4th of July called 4 Days for Life. And when you think about it, 4th of July is one of the most at-risk times for a dog, whether it be a dog in your home or a dog in the shelter, because of the fireworks. A lot of dogs run away. They need to keep the shelter space open for runaways. And, the dogs that may have been longer residents there, are more at risk. So they had this 4 Days for Life program. It was really amazing. You could actually take the dog for longer than 4 days. It was really kind of as long as you wanted, up to a month, and then you sort of had to decide. And after a month, she was just coming home with me.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a great it's a really great program. So
hi, Mimi.
Hi. She's talking to me.
So tell me this, because I know that you've fostered dogs. You're on your 5th or 6th at this point?
I'm on my 5th now. So I did 2 directly from East Valley. And right now, during the pandemic, I really encourage people to reach out to their local shelters, whether it be the city shelters, there's a South LA one that has a lot of intake a lot of times, obviously East Valley that I live near, but also very recently the county shelters, Palmdale, Lancaster, if you want to go see the poppies, go out there, and you need to make an appointment. They are under work from home orders, so the staff there is very bare minimum. But if you do make an appointment, you can now, which is totally new, I think it's a coincidence since the pandemic, but before you didn't used to be able to even sign up for a foster program at the county shelters. So you can definitely do that now. There are lots of dogs out there that definitely need homes, so I think that's a great place to start.
What's really the difference between fostering, because you've done both, fostering from a county shelter versus a rescue?
Right. So I'm also now involved with a rescue. It's a great program called a Purposeful Rescue. I've had 2 dogs recently from there now. I signed up to actually work with the rescue about I guess about 8 months ago now. Because I travel so much for work, I was hesitant to actually take a foster dog into my home. The primary difference, I would say, actually, between a county or a city shelter and working with a private rescue is you can take the county or city shelter dog back whenever you need to. If you're fostering a dog and you need to go somewhere, you have a vacation, you have something that, you need to do, you can bring that dog back. And
that's fantastic.
The information that you give that shelter on what that dog is like outside of a shelter environment is absolutely invaluable. And, it pulls at my heartstrings, if you have to actually bring a dog back. Yeah. But a dog in a high stress environment like a shelter, even the first 3 days that you bring a dog home from a shelter environment, that dog isn't going to be able to show its true personality. It is just scarred from that experience. And so being able to take a dog and give them a chance to relax and be themselves is absolutely invaluable to whoever wants to adopt that dog in the future. So you get to give them that sort of information.
And that's the point of fostering, is so that you get to pass on the information that the shelter does not have time to figure out, and that they're not going to witness inside a cage. But the fact that, if something happens, you can bring the animal back. I mean, yes, it's not ideal, but it's still a better option than it not having a place to go.
And when you work with a rescue, and when I first started working with the rescue, there are all sorts of jobs that, you can volunteer to do with them that aren't fostering dogs. Because I travel so much, I was actually helping with transportation. So if they had a dog that they particularly liked, that they wanted to pull from a certain shelter, say South LA, they work with a veterinarian. And the first thing that a rescue will do when they pull a dog from the shelter is take it to the vet and get it checked out. So they need transportation help with that. Someone might need to go on vacation. The biggest difference between the two is when you rescue a dog from the rescue, when you foster the dog from the rescue, that dog is yours until that dog gets adopted. So it could be adopted in 2 weeks and it could be adopted in 6 months. And if you need to go on vacation, if you do need to travel, that dog either needs to go to another approved foster or an approved boarding facility.
And the great thing is, usually, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a rule across the board, is that the rescue that you are fostering from during that time takes care of a lot of needs.
It's the medical, training, medical, food, including the transportation situation.
Right.
So, say you're fostering a dog and you can't take that dog to the vet, a call will go out to the other people that volunteer, which was what I was doing previously, and would help people that go on vacation, to watch their dogs, that kind of thing. And then, obviously, the great part is that when you have the time, you can actually foster a full-time dog.
It's such a fantastic thing. And I think a lot of people don't think about that stuff, that they would have their needs taken care of, and they're really making space in shelters. And I love the fact that there's such a network of people, like you said, who would have ever thought you could just transport, that's your volunteering thing. There are people who just go and walk the dogs.
There are people that walk the dogs. There are some people that, volunteer to take pictures of the dogs.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things that you can get involved in. And I know that, in this particular time with the pandemic, there has been a rush on rescues, people wanting companions. And I know that there are some people that are a little frustrated with people not getting back to each other, but everybody needs to realize that, these are volunteers that are working there, and everybody is trying their best to actually place an appropriate dog in an appropriate house.
Right. So tell me this, because I know, one of the biggest things is people.
Hi, babe.
I must have some treat in my pocket. Do it. All right.
Robert is sleeping on my lap.
I know. I was trying to get some FaceTime here. So, what will you say? I say this all the time to people. They're like, I don't have time. I'm always going away. Or there's no one on the road more than you. I know this from working in the music business.
Yeah.
And yet you still have managed to have dogs. You're fostering dogs. So, maybe you just tell me a little bit, like, tell everybody to relax. It works itself out somehow, right?
Yeah, and you need to have a good support system, and, whether that be family, friends, a trainer. When I first fostered Mimi, she had a lot of abandonment issues, and, she was a little bit difficult when I left town. She was difficult when I left the house, let's just say. But I found a wonderful trainer who would board her when I left. And so it was almost like she got, a training session when I would leave. And, she's ended up wonderfully adjusted, and I couldn't be happier.
She is a beautiful, I loved seeing her in the field with flowers, and I'm so happy for both of you because she's a beauty. Can I see her one more time before I?
Oh, is that? Yeah.
How old is Mimi?
So that's another thing I wanted to talk about with you is, with the everybody being more interested in rescuing and with fostering. I think a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of misconceptions about the term senior dog.
There really is.
I know that it's something you are really passionate about as well. A senior dog can be anything over 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if people really realize how much work puppies are. I
say this all the time. I cannot emphasize enough. I mean, look, they're cute as hell, but they are the worst.
I'm fostering a 1.5-year-old dog right now, and she is an absolute joy, except when you take your eye off of her. And she's eaten everything from flip-flops to, today she ate my Tupperware top. She crawled on the counter and actually just took the Tupperware top. So, I would really encourage people not only to open their hearts to maybe a breed that they wouldn't be, particularly inclined to, like a pit mix or something, because, these dogs they want homes, they want love, they want appreciation, they do like discipline, and that's really important to remember if you're fostering.
They really do. They thrive on rules and boundaries, and any, dog that is, or animal that is seen as a senior, frankly, they're over it. Like, they're way more mellow. A lot of times they already have their pee skills down, to go outside. I adopt seniors, and, they're over chewing. Like, they're not going to chew like your remote or your glasses or your shoes. They're over it. Yeah. So that's a really great.
And when a dog is 5 or 6, you still have a good, 5, 6, 7,
depends on the breed. I mean, you could
18.
I have one Chihuahua. I have no idea how old he is, but I've had him for like 6 years now. I mean, when I adopted him, they said he was 9, but he still acts like a little jackrabbit. So I mean, I don't know. There's just all of that stuff, but I'm so glad you're fostering. I love that you foster. I've seen like your adoptions. I know you, your latest success story.
Trumpet.
Yes.
I'm very excited. Trumpet was 2 years old, was turned in, we think because he had a hip issue, and went to a wonderful home with another dog who came from a Purposeful rescue also, named Tuba. So they are a family band now. We love that.
What kind of dog?
He was a pit mix, but he was really big. So we definitely he had some, maybe like a Doberman or something in him.
Yeah. It's so adorable.
Yeah.
And keep doing what you're doing. I love all this fostering news, and we'll
put side of the pandemic.
A Purposeful Rescue right below. So, and also the Valley County Shelter that you've been to. Yes. And thanks for joining me today on KROQ to the Rescue, Carlyn.
Thank you, Kat. It was good to see you.
Thanks, Mimi.
Mimi, you want to say bye?
You want to say goodbye? You're just waiting for a treat, really.